Good evening and welcome to State of Business on Art Television. I'm Tamiru Nimsat. Let's have a look at the headlines. Sri Lanka has potential in becoming a green energy exporter. President says. Budget 2024 aims to avert future economic calamities. State Minister stresses. News in detail. President Ranil Wickremesinghe underscored the potential of Sri Lanka in becoming an exporter of renewable energy in line with the predicted growth of renewable energy requirements in the future. The President also said that a multi-agency committee will formulate a cabinet paper providing recommendations for an energy transition law to facilitate this objective. The President said this speaking at the Sri Lanka Green Hydrogen Symposium held in Colombo yesterday.
According to the UN Secretary General, there has to be a tripling of the renewable energy capacity by 2030. That's where we are. What is the share that we can take out of it? Firstly, looking at it broadly as the international objective, the one of reaching 1.5 degrees centigrade target. The other is how do we benefit from it. Both those are interesting. So we have at the moment the potential of becoming an energy exporter, and that's what we have to think of. How are we going to maintain this goal? How are we going to achieve this goal? It also means energy independence for Sri Lanka. Look at the immense capability we have. We should not let go of it. Maximum value addition. Look at the solar power. Look at the old reservoirs. Look at the canals. We must have all this. So this is why Sri Lanka will have an energy transition law and a new immediately I'll be setting up a new committee which will have multi-agency committee. The cabinet paper will most probably be submitted to cabinet next week. But we have to take a holistic view on it. How are we going ahead? Because you are faced with this issue that the price of energy from these new units at the moment will be higher than that of fossil fuels. So we have to not merely look at the price, but also its impact in the long term. Does it benefit us or not? If that is so. Secondly, also the cost of capital. Are we to wait until the debt sustainability is achieved, which should be by end of the year, and then the markets start stabilizing, which will be sometime mid-year and we get a benefit of it? Or do we start now, which will be higher? We have to remember all this. At the moment, money is expensive for Sri Lanka. So we have to take some of those decisions, which is why I want this committee to review all the decisions, taking the economy into account.
Speaking at the event, the High Commissioner of India for Sri Lanka, Gopal Bagle, said that the Indian economy will grow by over $1 trillion each year for the next 40 years, creating a vast demand for green energy. The High Commissioner said that through enhanced power energy connectivity with India, Sri Lanka will easily be able to export the energy surplus to India.
Connectivity in the sphere of power and energy. It's just not about energy security of Sri Lanka. It's also about the potential that Sri Lanka has, which we are aware, the potential that Sri Lanka has to export its energy surplus. India is an economy which is growing very fast. It is among the fastest growing large economies of the world. It's already crossed $3 trillion, inching towards $4 trillion. But the important point here is that it took us 60 years, from 1947 to 2007, to reach the first trillion mark. But for the next 40 years, that is from 2007 to 2047, when we turn 100, and a few months after that, Sri Lanka will turn 100. During those 40 years, we hope to add another $29 trillion to the economy. So if you divide 29 by 40, which roughly means, on an average, $1.5 trillion per year. $1.5 trillion per year. It does not only require energy, it requires clean and green energy. And that's where the potential of energy exports from Sri Lanka lies.
State Minister of Finance Shehan Semesinghe stressed that the budget has been unveiled to proactively avert the recurrence of severe economic crisis within the country. The State Minister also emphasized the dedicated focus within this year's budget to extend relief to those significantly impacted by the economic downturn. The State Minister for Finance expressed these views during a discussion held at the Ministry of Finance on Monday. The State Minister said that the government anticipates a 1.8% economic growth for the upcoming year, with aspirations to surpass that target of 2% growth. The State Minister also said that the formulation of this year's budget took into account agreements established with the International Monetary Fund and the nation's creditors. The State Minister emphasized that meticulous attention was given to debt restructuring and various other considerations in the preparation of the budget proposals. The State Minister also said that the government has prioritized addressing the challenges faced by population groups severely affected by the ongoing economic crisis. He said that special attention has been given to low-income earners, kidney patients, individuals receiving disability allowances, and those receiving elderly allowances. The State Minister also mentioned that the comprehensive approach is expected to benefit approximately 3 million families. The Minister went on to say that the budget allocates 30 billion rupees to rehabilitate the small and medium enterprises affected by the economic crisis. He said that a structured system has been devised to facilitate their access to credit facilities, offering subsidized interest rates in the single-digit range. Stay tuned. We will return after this short commercial break. Welcome back after the break. The Parliament on Monday admitted and approved that a national evaluation bill should be passed in Parliament and should be kept into action soon. As proposed by SJB MP Buddhika Patirana, same party MP Mayantha Disanayaka, delivering the reply speech at the adjournment debate on this Monday, said that such a bill has already been drafted and finalized and the only requirement is getting passed in Parliament.
We drafted the bill. Bill is all ready. Honorable Shehan Semasinghe knows that we only really need to bring it to Cabinet, get the Cabinet sanction, bring it to Parliament and adopt any amendment that has to be made to that bill, and it can be passed in Parliament. It's not a difficult task, but it's a task that has to be done. We as a country, especially at this state, where we have declared ourselves as bankrupt, it is absolutely fundamentally, Honourable Chairman, required to bring this bill into Parliament and adopt it. Any projects that are going to be done in the future, any government revenue, government expenditure on such projects will be evaluated. The need of the country will be put first before any political will. It will show why such a project is required, why we need to spend so much money on a project of that nature. So, Honourable Chairman, I urge the government at this moment in time to please do not delay. Look at this bill as a bill of national importance and bring it to Parliament. The opposition, our Honourable Leader Sajid Premadasa, has pledged his support.
UNICEF country representative for Sri Lanka, Christian Skoog, said that over 40% of children under 5 years in the country are deprived of health, education, adequate living standards or early childhood development. The UNICEF country representative said this speaking at the 34th anniversary celebration of the UN Convention on the Rights of the Child in Colombo on Monday.
According to the recent child multidimensional poverty in Sri Lanka, more than 4 out of 10, or 42.2%, of children under 5 years are deprived or live in a household deprived in 2 or more basic rights related to health, education, adequate living standards, or early childhood development. Also, as per the national assessment conducted by the Ministry of Education over 2021 and 2022, only 14% of grade 3 students reached all essential learning competencies in literacy. In numeracy, it was 15%. Yet these competencies form the foundation on which children build their knowledge and different skills for the future. In addition, across Sri Lanka, over 10,000 children are in institutional care or detention, living in conditions that fall far short of what they need to develop their full potential. Over 90% of these children have a family to go to, and with the right support could return home.
Speaking at the event, Christian Skoog also urged the implementation of an alternative care policy with primary focus on providing family-based solutions for orphan children in Sri Lanka. He further called for a ban and criminalization of all forms of corporal punishment pointing out the long-term effects it can have on developing children.
Evidence shows that as little as $10 to $15 can provide a child with remedial education and strengthen education systems to help ensure every child learns the critical foundational skills. The Ministry of Education has developed a strategy for 2023 to 2025 for implementing a comprehensive learning recovery program for primary education, and all 9 provinces have developed costed action plans. While these are really encouraging steps, it is important these plans are adequately resourced, including financially, and implemented effectively. Third, tackle all forms of violence against children. This means implementing the alternative care policy. UNICEF urges the operationalization of this policy, which outlines a comprehensive range of alternative care options, primarily finding family solutions for all children, and encourages reforming all formal structures that provide services for affected children. Also, the country needs to take urgent steps to ban and criminalize corporal punishment in all settings. It is not acceptable, not beneficial for anyone, that although its use and harmful effects are known in Sri Lanka, corporal punishment remains lawful. For parents and teachers to be physically and emotionally violent towards children in the name of discipline and correction.
That's all our news for today. For this and more, subscribe to our channel on YouTube and follow us on Facebook.